Hey everybody, it's Tafony here once again. Hope you're doing well today. We were rambling about the Strymon Magneto. It sounds like this. Okay, before we get started, I need to give a huge shout out, a huge thank you to our good Europal Marius for lending me this one for the video. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. It is incredibly kind of you to do so. And on that note, I've spent about 2 hours checking this out so far. I'm not going to be able to cover everything, and for that reason, if I miss something that is your favorite part, shout it out in the comments. And I'm just going to say right off the rip here, I'm not going to cover the loop mode. I'm not going to cover the sample mode. If you are interested in those things, I'll link to some good videos on them in the description. I just want to focus on the echo mode, which is something that I am able to get my head around in the limited time that we have here, and cover with some level of brevity. But just know that lots of the controls, the workflow, and especially the sounds, be it the low cut and the tape tools, the spring reverb on board, the pitch shift, all of that, all applies to the other modes. And in the case of the loop mode, you do give up one of the 4 playback heads for the looping, but you still retain the same delay lines that all the other modes have. So on that note, let's just jump into it that way. So let's bring it in a synth line and mix that in. So we'll take out, you're just going to start this off by listening to the dry mode. So that's that. I think, oh, sorry, I do have a little bit of reverb on there. Let's take that off. So this is totally dry. Now, I'll say one thing that I really like about this one that is also on the Starlab that I tried. There's independent controls over the dry and wet. It's not a linear crossfade between the two of them. You can crank them both. You can mute them both completely, which is nice too. But it's nice to be able to just bring in a little bit of the wet only, or you do get a level of attenuation here if you're needed to mix for some reason on this side by taking the dry fully out. However, you do also get an input gain stage here at the recording level, which you'll hear right now doesn't apply to the dry, but will to the wet. And you get a little bit of crunch, which I really appreciate. We love crunch around these parts. So I'm going to start out dry, roll off that crunch just a bit, because as much as I like it, if that's not your cup of tea, we might not want to have that on the entire time. So let's go through it. We're going to stick to echo mode today. I hope that's okay with y'all. Bring in the wet. So because I am sending a clock in, you'll see my taps are syncing to the clock. The big screaming button here is the pitch, and it does track volt per octave over the speed. There are onboard quantization options as well. And I'm actually going to say something here that what I really like about this is that it actually kind of reminds me of the workflow of clouds, but like more in a way that I understand, if that makes sense. Like sending it pitch to control the feedbacks, the delays, and the sounds that I loved on clouds but had a hard time getting out of it are abundant on here, and I'll get to that in a moment, those sounds that I love so much. But so what we have on here is 4 buttons here to control the feedback. So if I crank the feedback up all the way, you won't hear it on any of the 4 delay lines, but if we unmute them, our 4th delay line is cranked. And I actually thought that was a little bit of an interesting choice that you were able to enable and disable it per channel, but I actually quite like that because you're able to drive the amount of repeats a little bit more by not having it on all of them. So you can basically make it infinite on 2 channels, and then these 4 parameters are mix controls, so I can just crank the feedback and then only apply it to 2 channels, make them really subtle, and then crank those up too. Maybe I'll just roll back then and put gain a little bit more, because it looks like we're clipping a little bit. Now, I usually wouldn't make the... Let's turn this up a little bit. I usually wouldn't make the delay line, or the wet signal of any effect louder than the dry, but just because it's a demo, we're gonna do so anyway. I hope that's all right. Here, cranked up. Now there are pan modes. You'll hear right now we're in the center mode, so everything is going to the center, but if we do left, right... Sorry, we were in left, right. Okay, so there's pan modes, we're in center now. If I take off the dry, which will be in the center, everything will be in the center. If I go to left, right mode, hopefully you can hear some stereo goodness, I hope. Going back and forth. Let's bring everybody up. Let's start with, you know what, let's just, for fun, let's go through this way first. So dry's off, we're only hearing the first play level, and the distance between delay taps can be controlled with the tap button. This isn't going to do anything because I'm sending external clock, which will space them evenly, which is what I like to do, but just know that you can control the delay taps that way. We'll take our feedback down, our repeats down, sorry. It does feedback at the most extreme settings, but yeah. Check, check. So we are in left and right mode. On the pan mode, we're circling back and forth. You can go to center, so everything is on the middle. If we go into the left, right, right, left mode, it'll echo back and forth across the 2 of them. Go back to the middle. Yeah. I love the sound of these. If we bring in the other delay line, so this is the 1st and 4th, in the even head mode, these will all basically be the same. If we pitch it up, our echoes will go up a little bit. Let's bring in our fundamental, our dry mix. Pretty straight up delay. Now if you get over to triplet mode, we kind of start to enter reverb territory. But when you enter into shift mode, we get pitch shifting intervals. And yes, this is like, if this was mine, I would have a very hard time leaving this mode, because I just listen to that. Feedback up. Bring on all of our intervals. I just live for that. Bringing feedback on all of them. Repeats down a little bit. Oh man, and then we'll bring the pan mode back into alternating. Yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Again, this is where the granular side of things comes in, that I'm just like, I remember this from Beads, that patch that I was just loved so much, that was so hard to drill down, but so easy to find here. Let's send an LFO to speed for fun. Put this into noon. It just, so much oomph. If we modulate the repeats as well, so just a triangle wave to the repeats. Yeah. So now I think maybe we'll go back into the even mode and center our delay lines. We'll put, just listen to the wet for a moment, because I want you to hear the spring reverb emulation on board, which also makes that mode that I just had sound super fat. I love this. Drums. Let's go even. Spring up. Yes. Yes. Take you out. I'll go back into here, and then I'll take my dry out. We're only going to listen to the fully wet, and I'll show you the low cut. Now, again, not going to do too much on that front, but if I go back to the drums, we got that low cut going. Sorry if this clock is too fast for this one. Here, let's, other nice thing about the two controls, I'll go totally dry. Tap in my tap tempo, bring in the wet. There we go. Okay, we'll bring our feedbacks back in, and I just want to show you that low cut. Take our dry out, listen to the wet only. Repeats down. Yeah, syncopated. Let's go to triplets. Super weird for drums. Let's not do that. Here's the low cut. And that sounds really, I don't know, like total high pass, right? But if we bring in our fundamental, we can kind of just like make our repeats a little bit distinct from the fundamental, you know? And if we shift that up, yeah, there's lots of fun to be had on here. What if we send that alpha to speed here for some drum syncopation? Everything's happening. Let's try our pitch shift mode. Yeah, I think the speed is full proactive in that case of that pitch shift mode. Correct me if I'm wrong. Feedback up. Yes. Okay, let's go back to our synth voice. So that's the dry. Let's go back to even, and then I'll demonstrate the rest of the modes. So that was the low cut. We'll take the low cut off. Delays coming back in. I'll take my dry out just so you can hear them. So now we're going to go through the tape effects. This is tape age. My ampersand. So it just sounds like an old dusty tape in a nice way. That tape saturation everyone's after. If you overdrive it too, if you are a lo-fi head. There's a lot on here to appreciate. Now this is crinkle, which gives a little bit of that. Dry. I'd say use that one a little sparingly because it just kind of gets a little wonky, but be liberal with your use of the tape age, I'd say, because it sounds really good. Take that off just so you can hear them all individually. Here's the wow and flutter. Just hear a little bit of the slowing down that you can also do through modulation on the speed side, right? So that's the wow and flutter. And then this is the spring reverb I already covered, but always sounds nice to have it on. So I would say, if we're just applying this to those, then let's add some spring reverb. Let's put it into the shift mode, and then let's send our clock to it again. Let's go. Reverb down. Let's go. Low cut can come up a lot, actually, I'd say, just because it sounded good. Let's do tape H can be cranked. Crinkle can be on a little bit. Wow and flutter, just a hair, because I'm not the hugest fan of it. It sounds nice, but do that. Bring in our wet. Yeah. That sounds really nice, I reckon. Now we'll send an LFO to our feedback. To repeat, sorry, I keep calling it feedback. I think that sounds splendid. Now, because I am enjoying using that so much, okay, unplug this. We'll send our synth voice directly in. Okay, I'm going to bring up the speed a little bit. I'm tafony. I'm becoming a tape convert. I'm becoming a delay convert too. I'm usually the reverb guy who opts away or shies away from the delay lines, and this one really sounds great. So hey, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that crap that YouTube is always on my case about not promoting to you, and I'll see you in the next video.